Good afternoon, year three. I hope you're well and have had a good day so far. I'm hoping you've done some fantastic maths, some great English from Mrs. Hand, and some other cracking work. I'm looking forward to being with you for your history session today. Now, today you will have read a little bit about some discoveries in Egypt previously. I know Maya really impressed me when I've been in school, understanding how much she knew already about archaeologists. And it was great to see how, using your fronted adverbials, you were writing about some of the discoveries which people might have made around previous times when they will have delved into the riches from ancient Egypt. Okay, so archaeologists would have dug up areas around those great pyramids, and you've seen videos relating to that. What we're going to think about today is how and why we associate Howard Carter with Egypt, because it doesn't sound like a traditional name which we might associate with Egypt based on our knowledge of some of the pharaohs that we might have looked at already. So what we're going to do today is be successful by identifying who both Howard Carter and Tutankhamun were. We're going to clarify how a tomb was opened, and then we're going to consider which of the treasures were most precious. Okay, so we're going to almost tell a little bit of a story in today's lesson, and then you're going to pretend that you were one of the people affected by that story within your learning. Okay, just a little bit of a think about previous learning. So some of these information points are correct and some are incorrect. So four things. The Egyptian year was based on the happenings of the River Ranger. Peret is the season or the happening from July to October. Akit from November to February, where the fields are planted, and Shema from March to June. Some of those things are right, some are wrong. What do you think? Okay, pause your video, and on your pack, you've got a table like this. Write which one you think should go in the correct column. Write which thing should go in the incorrect column, please. So pause your video now, please, guys. Having a look at your pack, sorting them out. And then coming back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see then how we got on. The Egyptian year was not based on the happenings of the River Range. It was based on the River Nile, silly old Mr. Spring, type for toffee. Second one, it's not Peret in July and October. That's Akik. Okay, I'm getting my happenings all mixed up. Okay, and that was the flooding season when the River Nile would allow the local area to get fertilized due to the spread of nutrients and liquid. Akit then, not November to February, that's Peret. Okay, getting my happenings mixed up, those three happenings, the Egyptian seasons. But Shemu is from March to June when those farmers would collect those crops in. Okay, so I got one of those right initially. Okay, so sorry about my mistakes. I hope you spotted them all. I'm sure Dominic will have been done, and I'm sure lots of you will have done. So thank you for giving that a good go. All right, guys. In our question today, we said, why do we associate Howard Carter with Egypt? And I think as grown-ups, we've got a big job sometimes where we say words and we just go, yeah, it's associate, but we don't actually double check you understand what they mean. So rather than looking at some words which are about Egypt today, I'm going to just look at the word associate. So associate it means to connect. Okay, so connect someone or something with something else in one's mind, in your head. Okay, so when you're connecting with something. Okay, so it links to the Latin. So it's very fancy language. It's a language from many years ago that people still, it impacts on lots of languages now, but it hasn't been widely spoken for a long time. Associatus means associare. Okay, and that means join with. Okay, and that's where we see associate links to that Latin word which meant to join, so connect and join. If some people associating with each other, okay, something we can't really do at the moment with people outside our households, unfortunately, but that is an example of how associations happen. You see each people, some of us are associating now through Zoom calls and through lessons like this, but associate and link and connect are synonymous. So join as well as a synonym for those words. Antonyms then split and separate, so things that are not linked are not associated. And then the usage of it, many people associate, so link, join, presents of Christmas Day. Okay, I should have had a capital for day there because it's a proper noun. Okay, so we link Christmas Day, but it's not everybody. I know some people choose and their families choose not to celebrate it, but many people do choose to link Christmas Day with presents. Many people choose to link Hanukkah or other faith celebrations with presents. Okay, many people choose not to as well. But the associate is linked. So the question then was, how do we associate Howard Carter with Egypt? Okay, what we're going to think about now, though, I'd like you to use that word associate because we're thinking about how Howard Carter is joined or linked to Egypt. Many people associate presents with Christmas Day with my sentence. Can you write 3 now which features the word associate? And could you, as a bit of a Brucey bonus, my name's not Bruce, but it's a Brucey bonus anyway, could you have a go at trying to use those fronted adverbials that you were using for Mrs. Hand last week? I know that some of you, you were writing about those prepositional phrases. Some of you were continuing those ing phrases, so spinning gently or jumping aggressively. And then could we use the word associate in that sentence as well? Also, I heard some of you were using other fronted adverbials. So have a go at using those in 3 sentences. Pause your video while you do that, please, guys. And then coming back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so associate again. Now we're just going to make it clear we understand again where ancient Egypt sits within our historical timeline. So if we look at that timeline we've seen before, we can see that you've studied the Iron Age before, and now we're studying ancient Egypt. Now, ancient Egypt, the development of the empire then was about 5,000 years ago, so 3,100 BC, so nearly more than 5,000 years ago it began to take over the area of northern Africa. Okay, then since BC, so it kind of came to an end due to the impact of the Romans in 30 BC, so just 2,150 years ago. Mr. Swing's maths is terrible there, isn't it? Okay. So we've had 2,150 years since then. Okay, so that's up to about 1874. We're going to say, and I'll show you why that is key in a minute. So that's our timeline. That blue block is the time until about 150 years ago, which took place between the end of ancient Egypt and now. So, and then what we've got is we've got in 1874. This chap was born. This chap's called Howard Carter. So this is a picture of what a baby in the Victorian time might have looked like when they were born. So this is a boy, but you can see he's dressed in a kind of dressy fashion. So he looks more traditionally female in these baby clothes. Okay? Then this green section is our time from 1874 until now. And we're going to be concentrating on some elements of that green section. So that blue section then is the time from the end of the ancient Egyptian time until Howard Carter was born. And then Howard Carter was born in 1874. And then after 33 years, he met somebody called Lord Carnarvon, who was a wealthy English aristocrat. Now, an aristocrat was somebody like a noble almost in our Egyptian society. So somebody at the upper echelons, the top of society, likely to have lots of influence. And we can know from the adjective wealthy that he was rich as well. Now, Howard Carter was somebody who was really interested in digging up places to find stuff out. He was an archaeologist, and he believed, due to his reading and due to his research, that somewhere in the Valley of the Kings, which we'll look at on a map in a second, there was a tomb buried there. Lots of tombs have been dug up, but he believed there was still this one tomb. And so he kept asking Lord Carnarvon for some money because he was wealthy. So he asked him for some money. Howard Carter wasn't anywhere near as wealthy as Lord Carnarvon, but he thought he could ask for some money. So he did. This is Lord Carnarvon, and we can kind of tell he's wealthy based on his physical appearance and his fancy moustache. So he looks very grand, doesn't he? And the Valley of the Kings, we can see marked by that red dot on our map. Okay, and it's by the River Nile. It's within Egypt, and it's this area where lots of key artifacts were placed by the ancient Egyptians. So 1907, then he's 33 years old. Howard Carter, and he's asked for this money. Okay, then he doesn't find anything for a while. Okay, and here he is. You can see that if you were being a bit of a detective, you could spot that he was likely to be the archaeologist rather than Lord Carnarvon, because you can see his feet, and you can see his feet got these white shoes, which is indicating, although he looks very fancy still by comparison to lots of our perceptions now, as in he's wearing a suit, and you wouldn't normally expect somebody to be on a dig wearing a suit. The fact he's wearing light coloured shoes indicates that he is, I'm trying to circle those. Yeah, the light coloured shoes indicates that he is outside, that he might be in a sandy area, such as a archaeological dig in Egypt. Because this is Howard Carter now. And then in 1914, things still haven't found it. Okay, so he's been going for 7 years, asking for the money, asking for the money, asking for the money, and then he gets the money. Okay, so he starts in 1914 digging. Okay, and he keeps digging, and he spends years digging in the Valley of the Kings, and he was certain he was going to find something special, and he kept digging. And he kept digging, and he kept digging. And if I've got lots of money and I'm giving you lots of money to keep digging, I'm going, yeah, keep digging, keep digging, keep digging. Where's my treasure? I've given you quite a lot of money now. Where's my treasure? I'm still giving you money, but where's my treasure? Obviously, I don't have the moustache. Okay, so imagine I'm like Lord Carnarvon with the fancy moustache and the wonderful hat and the fancy coat, and I've got all the money and I'm wealthy. I'm getting less wealthy because I keep giving Howard Carter this money, and it's getting to 1914, and I'm giving you money. I'm keeping giving you money, and you keep talking about how you can find this thing called Tutankhamun's tomb, and I'm like, what? I do know a bit. There's Lord Carnarvon, but he trusts that Howard Carter knows what he's talking about, but he's getting a bit fed up. But Howard Carter keeps promising this idea of Tutankhamun. Now, Tutankhamun, then, if you look on our timeline up to the top left of the screen, where the red arrow is, Tutankhamun was the boy king, basically, a boy pharaoh, around 1500 BC. So, not at the beginning of the ancient Egyptians. So if we look, he started being the pharaoh when he was 9 years old and continued until he died 11 years later. So he only ended up reigning for about 11 years. Okay, he was very young when he started being in charge, and very young when he died. Okay, and he was this boy king, and his tomb was apparently still protected in the Valley of the Kings, and that's what Howard Carter kept telling Lord Carnarvon, and Lord Carnarvon was like, "Yeah, I'm going to twiddle my moustache a little bit more, but I'm getting a bit fed up now." And he started to get cross. He'd spent loads of money. And he said to him, after 8 years of digging, so in 1922, he said to Howard Carter, "This is your last chance." And I can't do a posh accent, so I won't even try. But he basically said, "This is your last chance. One chance to go and find it." And he's getting cross, and you can see he's fancy because he's got a stick and he's got a suit on and he's got a bow tie. That's not really him. That's just a cross person. But you can see he's getting cross. Lord Carnarvon was getting cross. And then Howard Carter found something. And he found something after digging. And he found this tomb. Okay. And there was a problem though. He couldn't open it. And we're going to look at the story in our next video of how he addressed the situation of finding it and how he got the message to Lord Carnarvon. So we're going to stop there and we're going to look at our second video in just a couple of minutes. See you in a sec, guys.